Hello, hello, hello. Welcome all. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, YouTubers. Okay, so as I wait for a few seconds, I'm just grabbing my notes. And we're going to look at the 5 steps. We're going to look at the 5 steps that you go through when you're having challenges, when you have challenges, and the 5 steps that you're going to go through to overcome challenges and come out better than you did when you just went in. And if you're still going through these challenges, this could be a loss of a job. It could be being scared of recession. People tell you and speak of doomsday all the time, but no one really speaks of the steps and the solution of what you should expect and to know where you are on the 5 stages and to know what to look for when you're getting out of it and getting better. And that's what we're going to look at. So, the first one, stages of handling losses. The first one is denial. You'll see that when something happens, the first thing that people go to is denial. You can be someone who's a business owner or someone who just had a loss in a relationship, whichever type of thing that shakes you up. A lot we go in denial where there is shock, there is disbelief, um, questioning what if, could have, should have, and waiting to see if something different happens. And during this recession time, you'll see most people looking at the news, looking at what's happened, like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to change? Maybe it's just going to it's just going to go away. And you need to be aware when these things are happening. You need to know when these things are happening, so that you track your progress and you know that you need to do something for things to be better. So the first stage is denial. I remember I can give a little bit of a background story when I went through challenges with my ex-husband. One of the things that I was trying to do a lot was not not seeing things as they were. I was seeing things as I expected them to be, of what I thought it should have looked like and should have been like, and blah, 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 stuff like that. The second stage, that was the first stage, denial, is anger. Um, Anger at what happens. Some people become hateful, other people become dramatic, and other people start blaming. So, which stage are you in? Are you in denial, or do you have anger towards a person, towards a situation? Um, this can be a tough one, and some people would have been in the anger transition for weeks, some months, some even years. Just depends with what your point of reference is when you think and what you choose to focus on. The third stage is bargaining. You find yourself bargaining. I remember one of the hardest things that I experienced was when I was going through the divorce. I remember one of the thing I was doing is bargaining, and you have to know how you bargain. You have to know who you're like and what you're like. So, like, bargaining to me looked like trying to make sense of everything, saying, okay, maybe it's just this, or maybe it was that. Trying to just grasp on everything that occurred, what happened, what didn't happen. So bargaining with yourself, or maybe this will happen, or maybe that will happen. The next stage from bargaining is depression. And depression is something that is the fourth element that people fall in when, after bargaining, after going back and forth, maybe no changes or stuff happening, you start like holding back, and you're like, you see what's happening, but now you're under the covers, you're trying to protect yourself, you're trying to soothe yourself. And in this time you see a lot of people watching a lot of news. You see in this time a lot of people spend a lot of time on social media, around this time you will see people, or you will find yourself a lot, if it's not on social media, um, or watching a lot of news, hearing what everybody's saying, trying to hear something new about the situation, something that will save you almost. Um, the fifth, and this is very powerful, the fifth one is acceptance. What does acceptance look like? Acceptance looks like seeing that things have happened, you can't change it, to see things as they are, and then you take the exact action that is required for you to start changing things. So, like for example, if let's say for example, if you're in a house and it's catching fire, instead of thinking who did it, why is it burning, all those are shock, that can be shock, denial, blaming. You just go to, what do I need to do to stop this fire? You just grab the water. It's not about who started it, or is it really burning. It's burning, so you stop the fire. um the other aspect of acceptance is, you stop being as sad, you stop being as bitter, because you are in motion, you're responding, you're not reacting. That's the difference between um the other five stages, that was denial, anger, bargaining, and depression, was that those are reactions to what's happening. Whilst acceptance is seeing things as they are, and now this gives you an opportunity to respond, meaning consciously give the response that is required for you to move in the future according to what you want. So, if something has happened and you've gone through a tough time, you've gone through a time that has been challenging, or even if you're in business and you're experiencing a lot of challenges, this is very important and very vital that you come to acceptance, and you have to watch yourself. Which part of the cycle are you? Which part of the cycle are you? And sometimes you can go back and forth. There'll be people who'll be stuck in these stages without getting to acceptance their lifetime. Um, you see some people 40 years. Other people have trained themselves, they're more seasoned, and they understand life is always changing and things are always happening. And what they'll do is they'll respond quicker, because they'll won't start overreacting, blaming, they'll just go to the solution. Those are the people who are so-called solution oriented people. It's because maybe they've gone through it, and unconsciously or even consciously, they know how to come to the acceptance part, so that they can go to the next stage and come out better than they did when they started going through the situation. So, what are you doing to make better of your situations? Are you a person who's just seated there waiting for things to happen? And if you find yourself in a very tough time, very tough situation, just really watch your thoughts, watch what you're thinking, and ask yourself, like, do you want to be stuck in that moment, or do you want to feel better? If it's your business that's suffering, or if there is this fear that is happening, are you able to do and take steps that really really help you, or are you going to be stuck with that feeling of not knowing? So these are very important aspects. I can help you. That's my daughter. I can help you. There. Okay, turn around. So these are very important aspects. And okay, there you go. Good. You're welcome, darling. So I just had a situation. I had a conversation with someone, I think a couple of days or a week ago, and I came to a realization that there is a lot of, um, well, I couldn't have known or maybe I knew it, but I wasn't as aware of the situation as I am now. And that is, when you're around people who take offense when you express, or you can never really speak about real events and what's happening, um, those people train you on how to be sort of like, in spite of your intent of wanting to be more open, more accepting to situations and addressing them. I got to realize this, that when I was having it was supposed to be a very, it was not supposed to be, it was a very serious conversation. But I got to realize, I got to see how, or got to experience how I couldn't say what I wanted to say. Um, I found myself in a situation that I didn't know that I would be in, and that is caring more about not hurting the person rather than just saying what needs to be said. And I know if the situations were to turn, the other person would just do it like cutthroat, you know. Um, they wouldn't even take a second guess or a second look. I know sometimes I even think if I was burning, I don't think the person would throw off. My daughter is in here, so I'm going to pause a little bit just so I don't say some stuff that might be appropriate. So there we go. So it's very important sometimes to audit the people we surround ourselves with, because who you surround yourself with really, really matters, and it's sort of like shapes where you're heading and what you're going to experience, how you're going to experience what you're going to experience. Because I understand through my experience, observation, and learning as well, that if you're surrounded by people who can never confront, like real confront issues with a solution based kind of mindset, without blaming, without deflecting, and those are the people you live with, no matter your intent, when push comes to shove, when you're in a situation where you have to be blunt, you'll find yourself dancing around the table because that's what you do all the time. Um, and then I got to realize as well that, as painful as it may be, changing your environment is very important. And placing yourself around people who live, have, and do things that you want to do. Speak how you want to speak, move how you want to speak, like almost like similar values or something you respect about them. Because whatever you do not, um, whatever you do not um, practice is going to be very hard. Like you can internally be a certain way, but for you to have a successful surrounding that externally, there is this cohesion and nobody's walking on eggshells and stuff like that, you will need to be, you need to create an environment where there are like-minded kind of people, or like where you have some value system where conversation can be had that need to be had. Because you will find that if you don't have that, the whole community, the whole being of whether a company or family is built around feelings and never really tackling issues because everybody is stuck in their feelings. One moment. Yes, what do you say? Yeah, you can. So that's my daughter about to start putting on makeup. And I'm going to be having a business recession response event. And I'm going to put this is for women, but even men are invited. You are invited. And one of the things that I'm going to really look at is helping people recognize the stages that they have to go through or that they have to overcome. And the more they practice this in their daily lives and things they go through, the faster and easier it is to overcome stuff. Some people, when they have a real hard time, like they go through something really huge, with a trained mind, it might take you a day, it might take you a few hours. If it's so huge, it might take you a few moments, but you don't settle in your pain. You don't settle. It's like, okay, I'm watching my words a lot now because mm, I have someone who just walked in and doing their makeup, so I have to watch what I say. And this is one of the reasons that this is one of the many reasons why I also like when you look at Clubhouse and the groups I go to, I love to follow people who are very blunt, direct, because it's something I want to cultivate in myself. So I know that I come to acceptance like that, like that. But I do realize, even though internally I come to acceptance and I get to see things that needs to be done and I get to do stuff, when you have the surroundings of everybody you're surrounded by or the closest people in your subdivision or company, you will find, or family, whatever it may be, you will find that you will never be able to communicate the situations because everyone is going through the process, but people are stuck and they don't want to open the closet. They don't want to deal with stuff. So I've been in situations where I'll find most people will say, "Oh, when it comes to Pauline, you have a conversation, then after you speak to her after some time, she would have changed her mind." It's like, yes, the world is not consistent. Everything is always happening. There's something always happening around. And when you have new evidence, new findings, you see flaws in your thinking, in your actions, and stuff like that, you course correct. But if people expect you to act the exact same way that you spoke about, which did not work, did not yield results, and if it's ongoing and going for months and years, like you don't just stay on the track because you had the conversation, you keep on evolving. You have the conversations with people who are in your organization that you're moving with, or with your close proximity or your inner circle that help you, um, and you help them get to their best versions of themselves and getting the tasks done. But without actually acknowledging the first part, that can be a little tricky. Okay, so I'm just looking at my phone now, right now, because I do have a webinar coming on soon. Okay. So, hmm, don't use that. Leave that alone. What happened to that room is yours, and this is my room. Okay. I couldn't find my mascara, by the way. It should be in the car, I think. And my lashes. I don't know why I took them off in the car last time. So, oh, actually, I travel a lot, back and forth to Pennsylvania to my parents. So, um, no, they're your grandparents. Okay, finish, sweetie. I need to finish my live. I've got my live going on right now. All right. You look beautiful, by the way. You're welcome. Can you close the door just so I don't have noise? You can play Alexa if you like. Mhm. Okay. So at least my daughter just finished doing her makeup. Okay, so story time again while we're talking about this with business. Um, we don't exceed business life and everything doesn't expand beyond us. Like the more the owner of the company or the people who are leading in the family, the more they evolve and grow, the better that the family and the organization comes. If someone is stuck and there is no inner growth that's happening, there is no investment in self, it sort of reflects on the outside. Um, so, one of the things that usually gets people stuck are life losses, life challenges, um, changes in the market, like the recession. So you just have to look out for the stages that everyone goes through, but most people go through, and mastering them to a point where if you're walking through hell, like you don't stop and sleep there, you keep on walking until you're out of it. Like if you're walking through something that's really tough, don't settle there. And you have to know in life, as long as you have your life, visions and missions change and you pivot, always going to be growing if you actually think about it. If you're working against the principles of the universal laws and life, it's going to be very tough on your soul, on your mind, and on everything you do. You have to realize that everything is ever changing. Everything is ever changing. And our one of the things that make things tough for human beings, let me get a little bit more comfortable. There. One of the things that you will see that makes it tough for us human beings are our emotions and our perceptions. Those are the two things. So, like, having awareness as a basis for knowing that we don't know everything and we need to expand our knowledge so that when things happen, we don't settle with them, we overcome them and come out better is very, very important. Um, if you look at a tree has seasons. There's a season it sheds the leaves. There is a season that new leaves come out, fresh ones. Every year you get new, fresh leaves. At one time they'll dry up, they'll change color, they'll drop. The tree will be without the leaves, and then the leaves will come again. It's always happening. When you look at babies, the way a baby acts when they're 5 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, they keep on changing. You don't have to tell them. That is life. That's the normal process of life. If you look at the time you were in grade one, you always have to start. You always have continuous startings. So you holding on to something that you have lost or a situation that is happening and coming there is actually you going against life process. That's why it crushes your emotions. So you have to grow your perception. You have to grow um, not just your perceptions, but your awareness to things in such a way that you don't when the older you get, you don't become stagnant. You still have that rubber band elastic kind of mind where you can evolve and grow with things. um, that is very, very important for your growth. So you always have to remember, when you were in grade one, at one point you had to let go of that first grade to go in the second grade, and you had to start again with basics of the second grade, becoming a starter again. By the time you knew what you had to know in the second grade, you were reaching the end. You wrote your test or didn't have your test, whatever it was. You had to start again. So you always have new beginnings, and you always pivot and negotiate. From primary, you went to secondary. From secondary, you went to college or university. Now, when you're out of university, those programs had been put for you. It's the same thing in business. You have to always strive to learn from people who've overcome a lot of stuff. And when something happens, they know from experience, or maybe it was taught from family to family or through a personal development. They know it's not the end, it's just one of the processes. And every time something happens big, there is usually lessons all the time, actually, not usually. Lessons and opportunities, but your mind has to be ready to perceive it as such and not as the end. Um, every time in life you get new people walking, other people walking out. Um, have a vision. Have a vision of the values and things you want. What does your best life look like? And know that people will come in and walk out, but the people who have the same values with you, who want the same thing, are the people you should attach yourself with. Because those people, you'll be able to face something when it's threatening where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. But if there is no vision, if there is no target, if there is no goal, you will find that if you've just been living life, when something big hits you, that's when it's tough. That's when it's more challenging to actually overcome a situation and settle in disbelief, bargaining, trying to stay in the same place. But see it as a normal thing of life that is always happening and evolving. And as human beings, sometimes we like things that are consistent. So when something new happens, we might try to fight it, but go with life, go with the flow. Just think of life as a river. The answers are in nature, the trees, the puppies. It had the mom, and then it's gonna have puppies as well. And the cycle keeps on going on. So here are the 5 stages again. The first one is denial, shock, disbelief, and waiting because you believe things will always be the same and things are never the same. Things are always changing. Anger, being hateful, being in drama and always blaming. Oh, they didn't do this, or this, blah, blah, blah. The other thing, bargaining, trying to make sense of situations. The fourth is depression. Uh, Succumbing to the situation but still hiding under the covers and now just being on social media or drug abuse, alcohol abuse, whatever it may be. But the other fifth step is acceptance. It's very important step, and you have to always strive to come into acceptance of situation, because when you accept, then you're not using your energy and your life was trying to fight on holding on to what was, but responding, not reacting, because all these were reactions, responding according to what you desire and what needs to be done in the moment. So thank you so much for watching. Um, I'm looking forward to listening to your messages. Share this, like, and please subscribe to the channel. Feel free to share with your friends or anyone who you know might need this message, where it might be more helpful for them. My name is Pauline Coney. I would have stayed with you a little longer, but I have a webinar coming on in a few minutes, like 1 minute, so I gotta go. All right, have an amazing Tuesday. Bye.